back to the PPC. My name is Merlo. With me, Kresnik, the man, the legend, the tech caster. Of course, what time is it right now?
Here for me it is 3:05, but really it's time to start. Right? I wish it
Yeah,
was time to already be getting into it, but Yoinkers Celestial, it's time to see what should be a very good matchup between two teams that both have kind of a controller player that they lean back on a little bit. Prosper and Slopodopoulos, someone in chat before we even started mentioned that, but just having those two-star players to lean on, I think we're going to see some interesting bans. I think we're going to see some interesting just focus in the draft as these two teams try to figure each other out.
absolutely. Something a little bit different. And I'm happy to see that right now. Yoinkers, regarding map bans, we have Ice Mines and Frog Island. Actually, Frog Island, we see that yesterday. Pretty sniper-heavy map. Let's see if we're going to see that, especially into the Brazilian set. But for Celestial, we still have Warden's Gate and Shatter Desert as a ban. And the first map is going to be Jaguar Falls. Very standard, very okay, well-balanced map. And of course, do you expect something a little bit different this time? Maybe some sort of new pick, new meta? We saw Torvald. The Torvald is getting picked pretty often, actually. So do you think we're going to see him today?
In EU, I feel like they've really kind of not leaned onto it as much. I feel like they haven't really expected that, but I can go into picks and bans, and we can take an early look at how they're going to be kind of leaning into this here with both of these teams starting this out. I think it's EU, so I fully expect to see Ruckus banned. I fully expect to see aggro tanks kind of focused a little bit, and Yoinkers will follow up for me, luckily, with the first ban on the Ruckus, proving me right for now as Celestial. Now, maybe they lean the same direction. I wouldn't be shocked to see an Ashe or a Rom or something along those lines, but it'll be Victor, so they're aiming a little bit towards Prosper on the other side. I do find it really interesting that it's constantly Victor in EU on Jaguar Falls over Vivian, when I feel like Vivian has so much more potential to kind of be aggressive and chase damage down.
Yeah, they kind of forgot about Vivian for this particular week. I don't know why. She's still super strong.
Yeah, seriously.
She still has, she's tanky. She has a lot of movement, tons of value, and she's able to basically have, a Cassie ultimate on a single spell. So you also have control of those nooks and crannies. And especially in Jaguar Falls, I think that could be a first pick, There could be something, and there you go for Yoinkers. There is something that basically can go in and control the situation onto the left or the right side. But at this point, I think that Terminus, Inara, and the others can come up eventually, and Janus still will be available. Eevee is going to be the second pick for Celestial. Wormhole probably as a build. Super, super useful. We saw time and time again. Super strong with the poke, super strong in going in and out of the fight. Very hard to pin down. Atlas is going to be the main tank for Jaguar Falls. Extremely good pick. And of course, Janus. That means that onto the other side, you can pick maybe Malzamba at this point, even though there are a lot of walls. Corvus is still available if you want to play a little bit of Marks. And Koga is going to be the next one. And there you go with Corvus. So Koga, Corvus, great combination.
Yep.
Incredible amount of damage. And you have basically, a pocket heal at your disposal to just go into the backline and wreck them in half.
Yeah, and I think the reason why maybe Vivian's kind of fallen off a little bit in EU is because Eevee's fallen up, I guess, as people are picking her up more and more, but I really don't think it's that hard of a counter. I think if you play around your Vivian, you will end up getting more value out of it, because we saw what can deal with a Victor yesterday. I mean, look at that Makoa dive, the Clown Fiesta we're doing. Barcode literally just didn't stand a chance that entire game when they just ran him down, so we'll see how this Vivian can deal with that Eevee. I'm sure he's going to be well protected by his Ashe and Atlas now. Mm-hmm. As a tank duo, Andro also decent to fight it, but this is solo heal Genos with two tanks. It is two tanks that can kind of sustain themselves, but definitely probably wanting a little bit of help. They won't have it, but Celestial will have two healers to pair with that Inara, even though that Pip is going to be primarily damaged, so a double blast, sort of damage-dealing Pip style here, but I don't know how I like Pip into Andro, Atlas, Vivian. Pip's got a big head. That's one of the reasons why we've said that Pip kind of fell off there, and I'm also trying to remember now what won the poll in the chat, but I'm going to take a wild guess and say it was Punk Duck, but Pip really falls off into hit scan, and there's three strong hit scans staring him down on the other side.
Absolutely, and of course you have an ultimate that is a game-changing ultimate. You can basically sweep them out of nowhere, but more times than other is not super effective. You really need to play around that Pip and lose a lot of time, a lot of tempo, and especially, as you said before, if you pop his head, is gone. You don't have another DPS. You don't have a way to kind of react. And your only tank right now is going to be Inara. Of course, the best point tank in the game. But yeah, it's going to be difficult to deal with so much damage onto the other side. Yoinkers right now seems to have the better composition, but of course, anything can happen. If Pip finds the ultimate, finds the high ground, finds that little nice tight spot, he can basically turn the entire fight around. And I think we're ready to jump into Jaguar Falls. And yeah, what about the composition and what about the loadout? Do you see anything unusual or pretty standard for you?
Unfortunately, I see Big Shield, which I'm not super happy about, but it's fine for a double. It's fine for a double tank setup. I think when you have that other tank to lean on when you kind of get pressured a little bit. So definitely not the worst situation for them to have that there. But an early split right now from the teams with the tank holding both lanes and only Prosper fighting mid. And Vivian does kind of want a little bit of support, but maybe doesn't need it, I guess. But Toot Toot trying to contest him now with Good Lad with him. Pressure can stay on.
Indeed, and we saw right now super headshots coming in from her. Very quiet. They're still playing the long game. Not really going heavy into that point. They're still waiting to that opportunity, to the little bit of a flank or a first blood. And there you go. Inara takes the first one thanks to an assist. And right now they're trying to push them back as soon as possible. But it's not going to be good for Yoinkers. They lost everybody at this point. And thanks to Eevee Celestial Esports, they got a lot of kills into that bag.
Yeah, the Eevee was able to follow up with Toot Toot and clean up on basically everybody, and now that Ashe has to respawn with the timing of the death. She's the best person to go in and get the touch. Prosper can't really do it, and Atlas, his only mobility brings him backwards, the exact opposite of where you want to go. But an opening pick can make it possible, but no one really going to be able to cross that distance.
Yeah, it was amazing to see Inara die in that spot, but you need to rush to the point, and there wasn't really no possibility at all to do that, and Ashe probably is going to die soon after. Actually, we saw Eevee trying to chase her down, but Androx's nice cover right there. They just need to wait a little bit longer. The push is going to be difficult, because of course in Jaguar Falls, when you're pushing, you're bound to find and fight against the high ground. So yeah, a little bit difficult, but let's see what's going to happen.
They already have a decent flank happening here with Logi and the Ashe contesting there around, but it looks like they found him. They're trying to come pinch them, but the flankers are fighting kind of one by one, and Slop getting pressured out quite a bit by Logi.
Onto the other side, we see right now Koga taking up a nice cleanup kill, going against Ashe. Going back, of course, nothing really happening right now. That payload is not rolling at all. Nobody's going to push it because they're still finding a couple of kills more. Atlas right now in a very tight spot thanks to Pip and the others. And now they're ready to push. They're ready to unlock the situation. And they got a couple of kills out of that.
Yeah, and they're going to see how much further they can really bring it here. Slop getting so aggressive and not willing to ult, but they don't need it with Toot Toot getting very aggressive for it, but they get traded in the back.
Nice. Let's see if Koga actually gets a kill. No, Vivian shuts Corvus down, and then the other, Koga, tries to get a kill. Eevee, of course, gets shot down in the air, but the payload is still rolling, still moving. Inara will not leave his side anytime soon. Yeah, of course, Atlas is going in over and over and over. Ashe trying to hold a little bit. 50 seconds is not a lot of time. You don't want to use resources. You don't want to use an ultimate to just, do a push. Also, Inara is dead. I think they're pretty much done for.
Yeah, they have enough time to reset for one last push, but they can't get staggered out any further. That's what's going to be the most important thing to pay attention to here. And Klosar, again, trying to fight a hit scan in close range. All those headshots hit. He will not be able to survive, and the stagger continues from this aggressive defense.
Celestial right now being the better team. They're waiting a little bit. They don't want to give credits. Maybe Koga will do a little bit of a touch right there to extend the timer. That's a good thing to do, but yeah, you don't want to do any. Yeah, you don't want to give any credit. At least you want to take a kill or two or something like that. But yeah, Celestial, even though they have a Pip on their side, the better team right now, doing an impressive job of getting that aggression. But we still need to see what's going to happen in the next matchup. Because, of course, you got the middle point. You got a bunch of ultimates available for you. And remember, Pip can basically change the whole face of the entire fight. You still have a kill. You're still going with a triple right there. And yeah, this push is completely done, though.
I was hoping he would get the delayed penta from Good Lad, but nothing there for him as the Atlas cleans up basically everybody with that consistent damage coming in from that Chrono Cannon. Eevee and Vivian are the ones at the top here. Surprising to see the Koga, I think, as low as he is, but I understand that he's just playing to kind of buy time and slow things down. Pip, though, not the best look so far. Again, it's a very hard matchup, but they need it just to deal damage, and CC Prosper a little bit harder. I think that's really the goal of that. So he's at least doing that, some decent poke, healing up his team, and staying alive when Prosper tries to collapse on him. Decent job from that so far, but I think they're going to need, again, a little bit more as we go in, because the healing with the Corvus and the healing with the Pip isn't enough to even tank the Inara through some of the damage that she was taking. We saw Toot Toot take a lot of pressure earlier. We'll see if they end up focusing heals on him. If the mid is the same from Yoinkers, it's not. Vivian's on the right side, and we'll see how far forward she's willing to go.
Ooh, Koga almost dead right there in a very tight spot. Vivian popping his ultimate right now. Doing a lot of damage right there. Inara is going to be alone. Oh, Koga takes the kill soon after thanks to that combination. They still got a far, far way to go ahead. Remember, right now, you're pretty much even. Still having Androxus with that with that verticality. He's probably going to be able to actually get home to the point. Inara still standing. Ash still standing. Eevee is going to pop back and forth just to confuse Androxus a little bit. And there you go. Comes in with the kill. Koga chasing down the objective and, of course, the enemy healer. They still got those kills, and probably they're going to get the point right now because they have the numbers.
Yeah, especially with the constant staggered kills here. Prosper also getting delayed in the back as all the DPS come back to deal with him. Actually, it was his own team's side, but the aggression was more than enough, 84%. There's no way they can make it back in time, even with that Ashe respawning now. Celestial win another mid. The ultimates maybe didn't connect it the way they needed to at first. They had to spend quite a bit just to kill Prosper and Good Lad. 3 ults for 2 kills, but the trades end up being enough when they also won the other side of the map.
Positive right now to see a little bit of action from Prosper. Having a little bit of a tight spot. Not a very good time to get a, go up and personal with a Pip. Right now, Koga onto the other side, trying to get as many kills as possible. He's unlocked in the situation, creating some space. The cart is just rolling in. The payload soon gonna come to the last straw. And yeah, let's see if they're gonna make it actually, because I see this is a better situation than last time for sure. But they need to do another kill, at least a couple more.
Yeah, Yoinkers are playing smart though. They're not letting them come in, and now they use the shield to let themselves get a little bit of space. Pip again has to be careful, but I think he's in a good spot. It's all going to come down to this 1v1 back here, and it's opening with the Cyclone Strike.
And there you go, takes another kill. He actually be able to go against the Ashe. Watch out, she's gonna die pretty soon. They have no defense right now. That's an incredible unlocker. Thanks to Koga. Got 3 points in the bag, and now it comes down to the last one.
Yeah, Celestial 1 mid away from winning it, and they have good ultimates to make it happen. They have the Evil Mojo, they have the Seismic Crash, all tools that can swing a fight very quickly in their favor. We'll see how well they can use it. I think Good Lad dying immediately when he's literally top fragging for his team right now was a big deal. They're going to be looking for him again if they want to have the biggest impact that they can get in the mid fight, but Good Lad should be playing a lot more careful if Closar is there. Maybe just have the Genos play a little bit closer to the Atlas, right? Void Grip. Pip can't really get away from it, so just having the lift on someone who engages on Closar in the air, put the shield in the way, he can't do anything, and his health can't survive being focused down by that many people that long.
Absolutely. We'll see if they actually can manage to, take a kill onto that Pip. He was not super into the game right now. Those ultimates are not changing the face of the fight. He still has, one last one to just, set up the pace. But yeah, there you go. Goes with the ultimate, takes just a kill. It's going to be an important one because it's Ashe. And onto the other side, though, Androxus in a very tight spot against the Pip, and the others is going to try to fly away. Oh, into the distance. That's a nice snipe coming up from closer.
Yeah, shots like that from projectiles are always so impactful. And Yoinkers now, there's so much time on the point. They have to get in, but they have a lot of ultimates to make it happen. Time and space maybe as well. Doesn't hit, but it forces them away for Etsu to come in.
Yeah, indeed, they got a lot of time right there. Ashe trying to touch the point. She still have the vulnerability right there. Of course, on to the other side. Once again, they're going to try to take as many kills as possible. Right now, Yoinkers seems to be the better team. They have the better strategy, taking a bunch of kills. And remember, comeback mechanics, so doesn't matter if they come back. They still got the point. And right now, it's going to be a very, very tight spot for Celestial Esports.
They have a way back in, though. I think the Koga getting close. We can watch Slop here, and depending on how this fight with Good Lad goes, he just won't even take it. He'll try to find another side, but there's someone in every single lane. This Vivian will chase him down, but he might still get the overtime.
Ooh, no can do instead. They got the point. They got the objective by just 0.5 seconds. And Koga, unfortunately, was dead right there. Right now, we're setting up kills for this Androxus. All the others are going to chase back, and there you go. There's the first one. Watch out, because right now, seems the Yoinkers is going to change and flip the script.
Yeah, they got pretty far forward here, and they want to keep it going, but losing Logi, pretty key, is he's a big part of their burst damage, not having triple DPS like Celestial have. And Celestial, Otev doesn't blink far enough, actually. The blink got eaten by the column, but he still manages to make it out alive.
Absolutely. We're going to see, actually, a little bit of plays from that Eevee, but she's not super impactful. Yeah, she's making, those heads spin time and time again, and she's actually able to do a little bit of damage below, Vivian's shield, but it's not going to be enough, because right now everybody's dead, basically, and Inara is trying to chase down that Vivian. She's going to stay alive, but at what cost? Because she's super in the danger zone right there. Of course, Pip is going to trade. Inara is super dead right now. They don't have enough tanks and don't have enough bodies to actually defend this payload. They need to just go back and forward, do a little bit of a sidestep right there. Koga trying to go away. Probably can join the fight, but yeah, you don't want to waste resources right now because there's the last match point.
For sure, you want to be able to hold on to it just in case, but you can use the Sentinels. That's a safe one. Slobodopolis is getting pressured so hard here. On the side by Goodlad as well, but the real prize fight here is going to be on the objective because Tutu just gives it up and lets Yoinkers slip it in.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they didn't have enough time. Inara was dead just because she went and chased after the Vivian. And yeah, you're bound to lose some points and you're bound to lose some ground if you're going to chase so hard.
They have both. They have two healers. That Inara should have been able to absorb that damage. Toot, I think, was pretty healthy if my eyes didn't deceive me when he slipped back onto the objective. So just a moment off a little bit too long. Even Shadow Tribunal 5, not enough to keep up with the healing that they need there on Celestial. But items are up for everybody now. A lot of cauterized threes is going to make it significantly harder for Celestial to keep their players alive, even with Slobodopolis cleansing it himself. But Haven 3 on Otev, that dive potential is still there, and I want to see what this Eevee can do to maybe pressure this Genos and stop him from feeling comfortable.
As you said before, you're completely correct. They have two healers, but in that particular moment, Pip was dead versus the Androxus. So yeah, they lost a lot of pressure. Right now, Androxus trying to find the snipe onto that Eve. Of course, super frozen. You cannot do any damage right there. It's going to have a bad time against the Koga. I'm going to try to find a spot right now. Celestial Esport actually taking on to the point. Ash takes the big fat L right there. And yeah, following up soon after, it's going to be the Genos. They don't have a tank, they don't have a healer. And Ara super aggressive, chasing down onto this Androxus. That's the kill coming up from Pip, and they have the full control of the situation.
Yeah, they managed to hold it for now as they're still sitting on point. They managed to get back without rehealing too, but a lot of people ready to maybe come in here. They still have the Assert Dominance, which saved them from this last time. Try to go to the top-down view as they have decent coverage of this with people on both sides. Etsu, the one being pressured, and they use the Ice Storm on him, but they trade their life for it.
That was not a good trade right there. They're still gonna fight for it because we're at 96%. Somebody has to touch that point. We see everybody from Ash too, of course. Atlas trying to touch. I don't know about that core results though. I don't know about that, what happened. But yeah, they basically lost the entire fight. There's no way to actually counter this. Androxus is dominating the entire half of the map. Of course, Atlas also coming in for the chase, stopping the healer. That's a free kill right there. And I think right now there's no way they're gonna take that point back. But scratch that, because Inara is on to the point. She's actually tanking a lot of damage. Koga coming in, doesn't have a way to get away from Androxus. And yeah, out of nowhere, Pip is going to come in. It's going to get killed. That's a triple coming for Leggy. And yeah, basically it's over. Yoinkers takes the win.
Yeah, great play by Yoinkers there near the very end, getting super aggressive off the back of that and even holding on to the Assert Dominance for some later cleanup that we saw on the objective. Imagine they didn't have the Assert Dominance there in that final fight. How do they do that? They can't stun the Andro. They can't stun the Koga. They can't stun the Inara, and that becomes significantly harder for them to refight. But resources were saved until the right time, and Yoinkers kind of steal it away after being down 3-1.
Yeah, incredible. I don't know about Yoinkers right now. They did not have a good hand right there. Like, they had some very, very huge problem to deal with. They did not have a kills. They even lost the, Genos so early into that fight, but they managed to flip the script and turn it around thanks to Artrux right there. I mean, it was incredible from Androxus itself.
Yeah, I would agree. I think Logic had a great performance. I think Prosper Logic also, of course, doing a ton of damage on Vivian, I think to the surprise of nobody. I will say, though, I think underperformance by Closar, 5 and 10 here. Maybe not what they expected, but I don't know what else they could have expected with what they picked it into. Again, triple hit scans, it's not easy. Maybe he had to rush Haven a little bit earlier, but needed to give his team that cauterized utility. I would have loved to see maybe like a Mega Potion off support to keep them alive a little bit longer, but didn't end up being what they picked. Closar having a tough game, but still managing to find some kills and turn it around early. But as the game went longer, the pip just started to fall off.
Yeah, absolutely. And then what happens when you have a double hero composition? Of course, we saw it work many times, but you need a very specific setup for your DPS. And yeah, it was unfortunate. Like, they had the right positioning. They even got a couple of kills early, but I think Hebe actually didn't pull through all the way during that game. But yeah, I think something can change for the second map. Of course, it's just going to be a matter of what are they going to pick? Are they going to use something out of meta? Are they going to try to do a pirate ship? We don't know, because of course anything can basically work, as long as you practice, enough times over and over again and have a pretty clear situation, under control. Because of course, you take those meta picks, you want to roll Ruckus. If it's not banned, you want to go onto those maps that maybe you have the advantage on. And what about the next map? What do we have now?
It will be Brightmarsh, and I'll tell you right now, we'll be able to. You mentioned pirate ship. We'll be able to see if that's the direction they go with it, but it has to be like a Willow ban if that's what they're looking for. We did see a Rom ban to start it off last time, but it's also just in general kind of standard in Europe to get rid of that Rom, just to focus on those aggressive off tanks. In general, Ruckus also taken out, as I think we'd be coming to expect for most teams in Europe not wanting to deal with that dive, that ability to just 1v1 in your backline, able to just use that emitter and absorb way more damage than quite a few other tanks are going to be able to do. But the bans are in. It's assault rifle day at the stadium. They're both taken out, and Inara will be the first pick for Celestial, leaning a little bit harder towards giving Toot Toot something he can get aggressive with, but still be able to survive on.
You can still play snipers, though. You still have a Strix available. Eventually, you still have, as you said before, the possibility of playing Willow, if they take something else. And I see Strix is actually picked from Yoinkers, so that's a great strategy right there. That's the right move. Atlas, of course, to deal with everybody else. Genos healing through walls, that's fine. That's okay. And now there's kind of the composition, because you have Ashe, Inara, same as before. So that's a pretty strong tank comp to actually get and stand on to the point, but you need some clear-cut damage. And right now, Corvus coming from Yoinkers and Fernando. I like Fernando with Corvus, and I like the combination of Atlas and Fernando. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think I like the tank comp that they have. I think Wrecker is good against them, but it doesn't really help too much against the Atlas, so we'll see if it'll force them to itemize in a certain way. With Koga now being picked up by Celestial, I want them to get another off support. I think Grover actually is not looking that bad into this. Just being able to root an Atlas, root a Corvus when they're trying to run away can help significantly, but they'll go with a double flanker instead. Both going to be great when pocketed with a Genos that can get pretty far forward. Issue's just going to be, I think, the Inara maybe sitting there and not having the heals to keep her going, as Andro is the last lock-in for them. So, I mean, Strix is so good at being aggressive. Andro can do the same thing. I think both teams have great damage compositions and good tank comps too. I'm just a little bit worried about the Genos pairing up with the beefy tanks that Celestial picked up.
Indeed, absolutely stomping and smashing coming from Yoinkers. You have the damage, of course, coming up from Strix. The only thing that I'm scared of is, of course, you have Koga and Mive onto the other side, ready to jump on him at a given notice. You're ready to jump, you're ready to use that midnight, you're ready to eventually chasing down each and every single time. So I don't know if he's going to have a super easy, super fun time trying to snipe to that damage and you just run around inside the buildings. But I think we're ready to jump into the map and find out, because right now, Androxus and the others, Androxus is going to try to defend a little bit the Strix, probably, clean up and take a couple of kills more as soon as they drop in low HP. But I don't know. I think the two teams are pretty much balanced right now instead of the first map.
Yeah, I'd agree. I actually really like the comps for both. I also like the use of the AoE setback here to survive a little bit more when some aggression might be coming in from them here, but It's like nothing really too crazy in the builds from what we're seeing. I will say, I find it interesting that Slop leans a little bit more towards Shadow Step builds when we tend to see in PPC a lot of agility-focused builds, so they can be a little bit more reactive to what's going on instead of having to save and hold on to their energy for their sustain, right? They can use the Shadow Step when they want instead of having to use it mid-fight and be predictable. But early start by Celestial, 2 people on the left, but they're ignoring this Atlas, who's kind of in the middle of their team.
Yeah, you don't want to do that because he's super beefy and the damage will come eventually. Right now, we see Strix actually taking another kill. That's pretty good. They're going to try to go with the Koga. And yeah, Prosper Logic right now, super way back. As we told before, they were going to run on him. And he was ready and well prepared to actually deal with them.
Yeah, for sure. They were able to turn for it and keep the fight going. But they gave up a lot of cap time for it. They abandoned it and they let Celestial kind of run away with the initial cap time here, but they're stacking quite a few people. Now we'll see how much they want to pressure out Etsu, but a dive in from Tutu into the core of them immediately catches out Prosper.
That's gonna be a very good kill right there because you basically lost your main point DPS, and yeah, everybody's gonna fall soon after. Ash jumping into the backline, ready to go against the Corvus, and Corvus is not able to actually heal anybody because he needs to focus on that Ash right now and run away. He takes another kill. Strix coming back into the fight, into the fray, trying to snipe down the Ash. She's gonna jump away. Ooh, thanks Androxus, but yeah, it's not gonna be enough. It's not gonna be enough time also to jump and touch that point. They need to be very aware of that Strix. They need to defend him at any cost.
Yeah, keeping their Strix alive is really important, but just having all that cap time going on, it makes it so hard to actually win a refight because you have to constantly think about it and send someone to the point to contest, whether it be your Nando, whether it even be your Atlas here. But right now, Slop caught out. Closer actually saving him for now, but the Accursed Arm could change things.
Absolutely, and yeah, just a little bit of DPS right there. Not that much. Strix is still doing those kills over and over and over again. Fernando actually using the ultimate to just stand in line and keep that payload from moving. But yeah, right now, Yoinkers, they're playing pretty well. They're doing great. I think they just lost the point before because they didn't have a very great positioning. But yeah, they're picking up quite fast. And they're not dying, basically. They're just wasting time over and over again against the enemy team.
Look at how sneaky Prosper can be in the back. He does eventually fall to everyone having to chase him, but he draws a lot of heads. They all had to come back and actually turn and deal with him. But I gotta say, great peel by Etsu to keep his team going there when they were all trying to chase down the Andro and the Strix. Etsu put himself in the way, blocked both tanks from following up, and even though they eventually lost the fight, he gave them kind of a sign of life and a chance to keep it going. But here's the initiation. It's an exile, but it finds no one yet.
Ooh, nothing, absolutely nothing, and thanks to Inara and that wall, she saved a little bit of time. The kills will be found out thanks to Androxus, but of course Tutu right now taking another one. Ash jumping into with just 20 HP, surviving and killing the enemy healer. Oh my god, Yoinkers right now, I do not recognize them. They're just losing over and over and over, and once again, they're basing everything out of that single sniper. And if he's out of the fight, that's basically over.
It's just the fact that Strix can carry a game as hard as we've seen him do. He can just connect 2 headshots. You know, that's effectively 3,600 damage that someone's going to be taking right to the dome. But as they sit back here waiting, they need to be careful because Prosper's on the low ground. He can't get back up to the high ground. So if Celestial get one good fight, they can take that wipe and bring it all the way forward, and they're already looking for Prosper.
Ooh, you called it, and they're going straight at him, actually killing him in the process. Is very low. They did not find the kill right there, thanks to Fernando covering a great distance and shooting off everybody. They're ready for another kill, and right now Yoinkers defending successfully after a triple headshot, thanks to Prosper Logic.
They sent everybody for him, but hey, when you don't have Illuminate, he just goes invisible, and they can't actually do anything to him. He just runs away with that 50% speed to escape Tactical Retreat. Such an important card for Strix, one that we see in more or less everybody that plays this character. But I like the idea of just sending Slop over the top to dive in and catch them in the back, but healed for by his Fernando, a lot of damage absorbed by Etsu to save them. Now also Resilience rushed for him, so he'll be able to keep that shield up and avoid any CC for a while, and they're going to need it if they're going to keep putting him in the way between Prosper and the entirety of Celestial.
You're absolutely right. I mean, the idea was good. The execution was a little messy, but I think it's more the way for Fernando. I mean, he did a great job defending, Strix. But yeah, we need to see what's going to happen on to the next match. Because remember, the first time around, the Yoinkers did not actually take the point. And right now, as you can see, Koga actually taking the first kill. He's going to chase down the others inside the building with Neve. They also got 2 kills right now. And they're also capping the point. So everything is checked out in their boxes. The last one is going to die. So no healer for Yoinkers right now. And I think they're going to defend a second time.
Yeah, it's possible that they've got these early staggers. If they can find more, then it's for sure. But when Prosper's in the game, it's impossible to be 100% about a fight going a certain way. But he's not able to push too far forward. They're watching this lane. We'll go over to Etsu's cam and see if he makes it in. But a wall will stop him, and he's completely surrounded. He's definitely not going to spend the Immortal. This is nothing, but he spends it for Logi to a curse it on point blank.
Ooh, and he just touched the point right now. They just got a kill thanks to Prosper Logic. Ash right now being chased up from Endogus. He just bounced away. Overtime coming in. Koga takes another kill, but everybody's on point right now. They still got plenty of time to get back, but they need to reorganize and focus as much as possible. Because right now, they got the most kills, they got the most damage, but it's not going to be enough. Koga chasing down Prosper Logic is completely shut down. They're going to go for the second one, and of course, Androx is going to stay alive and kicking. Midnight being popped off once again. A little bit of panic coming in from Yoinkers. Jenna's taking a kill. Still gonna wait because the overtime is going, and over and over and over, gonna take another kill. Fernando's gonna be alone all by himself, and Ara can basically block him as soon as possible. They took another point. They're ready to reset and re-roll.
Yeah, the fight's still going on, but finally Logi falls and Celestial managed to convert it. Unfortunate by Toot, by the way, diving straight off the map. That's why I lost it laughing when it happened. I had to pull away my mic, but now he's making up for it right now with that quick assert dominance, forcing out the second chance and letting him get so aggressive.
Yeah, Zlop is super aggressive, works more times than the others, I would say a good 65, 70%, and thanks to Meave, he can be aggressive. He has a backup, each and every time, but yeah, he needs to be a little bit more aware, because every time he dies, the push takes a little bit longer. They need to push a little bit harder, and yeah, it's gonna be difficult. It's gonna take a while for sure.
Yeah, for them to actually be able to bust through here, especially with Prosper being protected, but he's playing a little bit more aggressive than some other snipers do and putting himself in a spot to get dove. You can already see, here comes the setup. Toot dives in right on him, and they find that kill immediately.
And there you go. That's the second one right there. Fernando could be the other. They just need to break that shield. Ready to go. Fernando right now super exposed. They need to push in and go aggressive. They find the kills thanks to Otev and Toot. They're ready to go. They're ready to roll. They have basically a full-on push onto the last straw. Basically for free. There's no way they can defend that. They're actually jumping down. Watch out for your backline because right now Otev and the others are basically entering into your respawn, killing everybody.
Yeah, they managed to get Good Lad to touch for just a second, but nowhere near enough time with how well they were split, I think. They know that neither of these tanks have full AoE coverage, really, so put 2 people right below the wall that you have to drop down to contest the objective, and suddenly Good Lad can't live anywhere near as long. Etsu can't live anywhere near as long, and you've just split them and really found an opening that you can kind of exploit here. Healing currently pretty actually heavily in favor of the Genos, I think, for what Genos normally does, but Corvus, I think his team is just dying so fast that he can't get that consistent healing, while Genos is just always giving them that buff and that damage, that damage boost that will help them engage in these fights. But I want to see how this dive goes again. I'm going to watch from Prosper. I want to see the deer in the headlights POV of the entire team collapsing right on top of them.
Absolutely.
And there he goes!
There you go. Of course, you gotta focus him. He's the main DPS right now. And as you said before, that's just a couple of headshots away for winning the entire fight. Right now, Atlas doing God's work. Setting up a shield, trying to go once again into the fray. But it's not gonna be enough right now. Yoinkers having a big problem at their hands. At the last point, they need to be aware. They need to find those kills, and they need to protect the Strix. Meave actually going down a little bit earlier than usual. We still have Androxus being targeted by Ash. Fernando into prey once again, using their ultimate just to keep himself alive. They need to jump onto the backline and fast. But Toot takes another kill onto the Corvus, so there's no way for Fernando to actually have sustain. He's gonna die pretty after. And yeah, I think that's pretty much done for Celestial Esport.
Yeah, Celestial managed to take it. Again, I think Prosper had to play a little bit safe. Just 1% safer, man. He was so in front of them, kind of showed his position, then maybe, take one shot, immediately stealth and rotate away. They're going to do nothing but run at you. And he was playing a little greedy. I think that was the biggest thing for me of him kind of trying to overstay in some of these positions, but we could take a look at the stats here. Prosper still ended up top damaging for his team, but Otev eked him out in the full game stats overall, 75,000 for him. And I think, again, that's because Prosper just didn't have a chance to do literally anything. He was just getting run down from start to finish.
Absolutely. And I told you before, I was a little bit, scared because you have a full-on flank composition. They're going to try to rush you down as soon as possible, and they just did that. And even though you can play safe, inside buildings, you can, as you said before, pop an headshot, go straight back into cloak, and then pop another one, do a little bit of burst damage. Mm-hmm. They're going to find you out. They're going to snipe you. They're going to try to, go into those nooks and crannies, because basically Brightmarsh is also super small as a map. If you're not inside the buildings, you're going to be, up into the high ground, maybe behind a wall. They're going to find you eventually, and they just did. And as you can see by those kills, they just rushed him to the ground.
For sure. I mean, he still managed to get the top amount of kills on his team, but Corvus and Atlas on that team really struggling, I think. Shoutouts to Klosar, though. I didn't realize how well he was doing, but 9-2 on this Inara, cleaning up on most of the kills and avoiding death himself, even dying less than his Genos, who is usually in the fights a lot further away. So great play by Klosar, I think, to utilize those Genos heals to the fullest. But right now, 1-1 Celestial, I don't know if anyone really expected them to even it up this quickly. I thought this game would be contested, but with how Yoinkers looked, how quickly they came back last game, I thought they'd be able to kind of claw back from this one too. But Celestial, they looked commanding that whole time.
Definitely a very fast-paced one. We didn't expect that, but it also came down to execution, and a very big part of the strategy was just to go full-on flankers. They even abandoned the point so many times. They just went for kills, and then thanks to Inara, you just basically stand onto that point, and you're going to hold it for a long period of time. It's very hard to deal with Inara as soon as she gets into Brightmarsh, because she basically walls off the main entrance, so you need to go to the side, and when you go to the side, you're super exposed to enemy fire, and that's just what happens. But yeah, I think the next map is going to be a little bit different. Probably, right now they can have a change of pace, but everything depends on to the next map. So what do we have next?
I will tell you in 1 second, as I've accidentally opened Mumble on my computer instead of what I was trying to open there, but it's going to be Stonekeep between these two teams. Okay. Yoinkers pick to want to do that here, and we will be able to hop into that draft just now. Stonekeep, I think it's an even map. I think it's one of the ones that I like the most because you can run into it with a very specific strategy and still be able to win off of it. But we'll take a look. Yoinkers here with the first ban. I definitely would expect. What's up?
No, sorry. You can still play Strix also. You can still roll the same composition if you really want to. So I expect Yoinkers in case to do that. But yeah, as you said before, Ruckus is going to get perma-banned because we're in EU. Koga, actually. Okay. And onto the other side, they got Rom. So maybe, I don't know. Victor? Yeah, Victor, of course. It's going to be the usual. What do you expect now, though? What are the kinds of strategy that work very well? Oh, yeah, of course, Vivian. You got to play Vivian.
Vivian, I think, is a great pick because you can play on either side. It doesn't really matter where you end up. You can protect a Vivian on high ground. You can play with your Vivian on low ground. She can help you push really aggressively. So I definitely love the pickup, and it's also, of course, going to look very good in Prosper's hands. I think no reason not to want it here. But you've given up both great tanks to Celestial. I mean, in our Ash just won Celestial the last game, Klosar and 2-2, a fantastic combo of those two. Definitely happy for their sake, I'm sure, to see them back on those characters. And they're great on this map. Ash can play on either side, and Nora can play on either side. Her walls are great inside keep. Her walls are great on the push. So Celestial, they're not feeling too bad about it, but they need something to deal with this Vivian sooner rather than later.
I'm positive that right now, okay, there's going to be a Navy. That's pretty good. I did not expect that in Corvus. Corvus is pretty good in Stonekeep each and every time because, of course, you have control of the point. You can just, pop that mark onto Vivian, and she's unstoppable as soon as you launch her into the battle. For Eevee, though, you have Wormhole, you have Verticality, you have so many points that you can basically use Soar and jump from point to point and, keep that consistent damage onto Genos. Meave is going to be another one for Celestial. Atlas coming up from Yoinkers. So pretty much the same picks as before. Nothing really changed. Terminus, though, that's the little difference. That's the little thing that changes everything. Because Terminus, I think, personally, is the only one that can deal pretty good with Inara. Inara is going to be always, super strong. But Terminus will be able to hold the point, be a second Sam as soon as he has the ultimate. And of course, it does a lot of damage to Inara. And you want to be close up and personal with her.
Yeah, for sure. He can do quite a bit to her. And also absorb damage and basically send it back with the blast. So looking at this last pick from them here, it's the same exact draft from Celestial, except minus the Koga, because it's banned, and pick up the Zin. So now Slopodopoulos going to have to play one of these DPS, these projectiles, but Zin not definitely the hardest here. We'll check on the other side with Atlas and Term is also going to be tough because if they run Guillotine, their executes maybe not going to be quite as easy to land, I think, with them being able to basically just absorb it more or less here. But I think I really like the Yoinkers draft here. I think having Vivian and Eevee is great. They don't really have a great way to deal with Vivian, but realistically, what is a good way to deal with Vivian, right? I don't think there's any character that you're like, oh yeah, we just beat Vivian now. Because no one really does that. Eevee maybe, but I don't even think that's 100% guaranteed one matchup.
It's just the fact that you have a blaster and you can maybe shoot at her feet just to get that, that damage out. And that's why you said Eevee. But of course, you don't have Eevee at her disposal because they picked her, And there's not really a full-on counter per se, but you can run her down. Like they have Ashe. So even if Vivi gets into church, you can basically collapse onto her with the entire team. Yeah, she has a better chance of surviving instead of Strix. But of course, you can still try. You have Meave, you have Genos, you have Zin, and Zin does a ton of damage when you have the chance to get up and personal, very, very close into that church. But I think we're ready to jump onto the map and see what's gonna happen, because right now, everything is on the table. From last game, they're basically replicating both teams, the exact same strat. Picks are a little bit different, of course, but, basically the idea, the meta is the same.
Yeah, for sure. It's about the same concept, I think, here. Yoinkers, though, taking a little bit further, I think, with them trying out something different, I would say. But they still have the Vivian, which is going to fill in basically the same thing as Strix, except maybe a little bit better at getting dove. But they're both meeting each other up top. Your slop is so low early, though, and that could be something that they dive on.
Yeah, they're not finding kill though right now. They just ignore him. Eevee from the other side right now, actually trying to get that first blood in with the others, and there you go, Genos is out. So right now you don't have sustain, you don't have heals, everybody's gonna collapse sooner after, and Eevee takes that verticality to the sky, actually going behind, doing the sick damage. Nobody's controlling the point right now, even though Genos is dead. You still are fighting, they're still going at it. They're still trying to contest and control that point, because right now they're trying to find a kill, but one comes soon after.
Yeah, and Terminus able to trade that decimation damage pretty consistent here as they want to get aggressive. Terminus can block him. His ability to block this damage in pocket for teammates is why I think as Paladins gets played at a higher and higher level, Terminus will be picked more and more over some of these other tanks, because just the idea of being able to save your teammates is so important here. But Yoinkers, they run away with it after getting a couple kills, slowly staggering them out. And now Celestial, they don't want to let the cart roll all the way up here. They want to find a place to contest, but there's tanks in both lanes, and it's hard to break through.
Absolutely. And as you said for Terminus, he just negates damage. You don't need a shield, you don't need anything, you just absorb. So each and every type of damage you do, it just gets lost into the void. And it's incredible because you can basically rush it through as a flanker. Look at that. Like, he's super aggressive right now. And he's going to get away with it.
Yeah, for sure. He's able to walk away because he gets healed by his Corvus on his back there. But now Celestial, they still want to get aggressive, but they just can't push that upper lane. That Terminus is constantly in the way, and now even Closar can't really get away with it as they lose Otev.
Vivian popping the ultimate. There you go. Tons of damage coming onto that backline. They are in a very tight spot right now. She's trying to control as much as possible that Ashe. But yeah, it's a little bit difficult, of course, because they are trying over and over and over to get in. Yeah, they have the high ground, so that won't matter at all.
What a great juke by Logi, actually. Baits out the Assert Dominance, and it's not contesting the card, so if they manage to kill the Inara on it, they can move past it, but they're looking another way for it. They spend the Exile, catch 2 people above, and they can't move to the objective.
Ooh, that was a great play right there. Oh my god, I never seen something like that. They completely ignored Atlas, and he just did the play out of nowhere.
Oh, that was just a perfect Exile. The way that they set it up, Toot gets the Assert Dominance baited out by the pressure from Logi, so he's like, all right, well, I'll hold up here and see what else I can do. And then as soon as they start focusing close-ar, they just exile them to the side. They can't make it back to that objective in time, so just a great heads-up play by Yoinkers. Playing off of that Exile, you don't normally see Exiles doing well here, but it's great to see it actually come to use.
I don't know what to expect right now from Celestial. They still have the comeback mechanic from that point. Yeah, but I don't know. There's not really much you can do as soon as you are against the Vivian. The damage is just so insane. And right now they just popped her back, you know, thanks to Ashe. They're gonna try to chase her down, but they're losing everything else in the process right now. As you can see, they're trading kills back and forth, back and forth. It's not gonna be enough. Right now, Yoinkers completely dominating the scene, and they still have a Terminus onto that point with the ultimate.
Yeah, but they managed to catch out Good Lad above with Otev playing pretty consistently here as they come in. Guillotine also connects, but they do get an execute there with the Xin onto that. So it forces out the reanimate, but if they kill Prosper during this is a much harder fight for Etsu to live through, and they need to get magic out of this Ice Storm, but they get nothing. So you've actually been muted, Merla, so I will continue here. Toot now continues to hold
Whoopsie
this
daisy.
high up area as they play to hold this space, but collapsing on Good Lad, they can't make it, and Celestial get the first point of Stone Key.
Yep, they're ready to roll, and of course you can still set a good defense right now, but Celestial, they're picking up the pace right now. The tempo is all onto their side. They still have the mid pulse, so their ability to make plays is online. They have the presence, they are ready to roll, and there you go. They just popped the ultimate, they're ready to find a couple of kills. Right now, Vivian onto the high ground trying to do as much damage as possible. Oh, just takes a Meave for free, basically for free. Under the ultimate is ready to go, and right now, ooh, nice rewind right there. Of course, they're just fighting back and forth, back and forth. It's gonna be inconsequential though, because everybody is basically moving back. The fight is elsewhere, and yeah, that's a good reset right there.
Yeah, I liked the idea behind the Assert Dominance, but his team was just losing the rest of the fight, so Atlas was able to keep him completely isolated here as they just want to get an aggressive zone and buy more time, because time's all that matters here. But Slop kills Etsu. That'll help Celestial regain their footing and get forward again. Pokes back. Horus should be able to keep them healed up, so Celestial need to keep up the pressure.
Otev actually trying to find the pick. He has control. He's trying to go against the Vivian. It's just too much. That shield absorbs so much damage. And yeah, there you go. Right now, Atlas trying to poke a little bit, you know, take control of that situation, that left side right now. Yes, Podopolis having a little bit of a problem right there. Everybody has ultimates, so you can still use them for good defense, and that's going to be valued. That's going to be worth it. But of course, the longer you can go without using them, the more you have a chance to win that final match point. They're taking kills over and over and over. Right now, Eevee just going crazy into this backline. Nobody's going to pin her down. That's a double kill, but it's even more value knowing that Genos is just going down.
Yeah, for sure. The Eevee has been able to just keep this pressure up. So hard to deal with Logi on it. And people are calling Logi, you know, oh, Canessa one trick. Oh, hit scan only player. But I mean, look at him right now on this Eevee, proving everybody wrong. Well, with his mobility, with his use of his cooldowns, and constantly not letting people breathe.
Yeah, and they're all back right now, ready to pick up another kill. They're basically forcing them into spawn. Slam dunk, ooh, from up top. Thanks to this Terminus, they got the kill. They're basically all backed up in respawn, and that's going to be a huge point and a huge advantage for Yoinkers.
Yeah, for sure. Yoinkers also putting Good Lad right in the way to stop them from getting on, but hold a second. They actually managed to
All
get a
the-
back cap going, so Maeve actually snuck behind and touched, but I don't know if they have the overtime. No, wait, Closar makes it back, and they get an opening kill here, Merlot.
Ooh, is this a Meve or an Androxus? Look at that verticality. She's basically doing anything in her power to actually keep that payload from moving, but the defense is going to be successful because they did not have the right footing. They did not find a kill. And of course, the tanks, they were far, far away.
Yeah, I like the idea behind going behind and pushing it, but they just couldn't keep it up against the death ball potential from Yoinkers being able to save each other with the Siphon, with the Stasis Field from the Atlas, so a lot they can stack on top of it. But look at Logi right now, by the way, on this Eevee. I mean, he's dead in one. He's only died once here, so very, very hard for them to kill, even with what I would say is kind of a winning matchup. Otev, that Maeve into the Eevee generally, I would say, favors the Maeve, but Logi, I think, is just not taking that fight. And I think that's a really smart way to approach it. You just say, hey, listen, I'm more mobile than you. I don't want to deal with you. I'm just going to go fight somewhere else on the map. When you fight me, I'll just keep destroying the rest of your team that can't stop me.
And she always consistently finds the Genos each and every time, and he has no way to deal with her. And right now, other kills are coming over and over and over. Right now, Selestial actually picking up the slack, trying to get as many kills as possible, but they don't have a way to control this Eevee at all. As I said before, there's no way to pin her down, so she's just able to do whatever she wants. And each and every time she has a problem, Ice Block, and she's ready to roll once again. Ooh, they're just taking kills over and over and over. Look at that. That's out of this world.
Yeah, they need to find a way to get through. Look at this. That Eevee pressure was so much. Wait, he's killing Prosper, but now, okay, you've done this, but who's touching the point? Is it also going to be you, Slop? I don't know, maybe. But the Eevee's in the way, and he has to find a way to break through.
He's gonna touch the point, but he's all alone by himself. He's not gonna resist that much. He's not gonna live for that longer. And yeah, he's completely gone. Once again, right now, Yoinkers just controlling the situation thanks to Terminus, but he took a couple of kills more. And, you know, you still have that giant body. You still have that giant stun, that giant slam. Full-on control. Genos not going to be able to pick up a kill thanks to Fruit Time and Space. They're going to try to touch with the Zen, but I think that's pretty much over. They're just throwing themselves onto the point, blocking Inara and her mount, and that's the bloody block.
Yeah, and Yoinkers run away with it there near the end, and Logi was such a key part of it on that Eevee. I mean, Prosper, of course. Logi did really well in that last round. Prosper, I think, was the one that really put the pedal to the metal and ran them down through church, catching anybody that was trying to actually run away and make even an ounce of space between them and Logi, who can cover so much distance on that Eevee anyway. But the stats will tell exactly what we're saying. Prosper with the top damage, Logi right behind him, and no one else on Celestial, honestly, really even close.
I don't even know what to say because there was no way to control, you know, Prosper with that amount of heavy damage you can basically fire and pop off at any given moment, and of course the Eevee just freely going, you know, with that verticality, just jumping on and off with the wormhole. She had so much control. You cannot really do anything with her, and you know, you see that's a 14 in one. Yeah, that's just incredible. And most of the time she just took the Genos. Like, Genos was her main goal, her main target, and as soon as you lose that single healer, you don't have anything left. You really cannot you know, proceed with that fight because you don't have sustain.
Yeah, but also being able to clean up on the damage done to the tanks, because the tanks would use their mobility, you know, to run away. They would cross that distance to actually get across the map, and then the Eevee would just chase them when they thought they were safe. The Genos not able to heal them up enough, and I think that was the biggest thing to go on there. But we're 3 games in on Yoinkers versus Celestial. There's going to be more on the other side of this break.
And we're back to the BBC. My name is Merlo. With me, Kresnik. We're ready to bring you possibly, we don't know the last game because right now anything can happen. Like
for sure.
The combination of these two teams, they're playing, pretty much evenly. I think it came down not only to composition, but, map rehearsal. Because right now, Stonekeep, it was a very standard map. But he played consistently on both sides, especially Mivu, as we saw into that last game. And, of course, Zin, time and time again, they're going through, they're setting up fights, they're setting up kills. So this flank kind of comp that is coming through actually works out pretty well. But what about the map that we're going to see right now? What is it gonna be?
Well, the flankers are still going to be effective, I think, here, but maybe not as good as backlines on Bazaar. So a wide-ish map, I think. It's for me, it's just like Fish Market with cover. That's the way I've always seen it. I think the push may be a little bit different than Fish, but the mid-fight does kind of feel like it. But Yoinkers now up 2-1. Celestial, this is the map they wanted to go to. This is their fallback after those bans earlier, and I honestly don't know if bans are really going to change at all. I think the characters that they've been banning are still good on this map. I'm just worried if they're going to let that Vivian through again.
But then again, if you ban Vivian, which is hard to deal with, no, don't get me wrong, you still have the Ruckus, so you still have so many other picks that you need to ban, you need to deal with in some capacity or the other. So it's going to be a ROM again, and Victor, Ruckus from Yoinkers, and probably at this point, they want to pick a Vivian up because they banned Koga. Celestial, they need to do something different. They need to flip the script. They need to change. And the pick is going to be maybe an Inara, or an Ashe, or at this point, they're going to leave Inara and Ashe to the others. It's going to be Inara. So that's pretty good because, of course, as you said before, it's like Fish Market with walls, with cover. It's super strange because the main point is basically 4 different walls that you can basically hug with Inara, and you can wall yourself off, from the enemy. And if you have a ROM and if you have any other very agile and mobile pick, you can just run around the main building and, basically cover yourself from enemy fire. So Yoinkers, they're going to pick Ashe. They're going to pick Vivian. So that's the thing right now. Eevee is going to come in for Celestial. I don't think that's a super good pick right here on Bazaar. Yes, you have so many buildings. Verticality is key, but you have so many walls also. It's very hard to navigate. And it's going to be Atlas also.
I think it's them convincing themselves that Vivian is countered by Eevee, and I really don't think it's a hard counter. I really don't think it is. I think if you're protected even slightly or have an ounce of healing, the Eevee will distract her, but not necessarily take her completely out of the fight. So they're just kind of forcing it, I guess, so they can have that counter, but they're giving it to them again. And I think that's why teams are banning Victor and not Vivian, because they feel like Eevee just deals with it. That's why we're seeing so much more Eevee now in EU as opposed to how we used to.
I mean, you can deal with Vivian, but the answer is not Eevee or Atlas. It's actually Terminus. You can basically use Terminus, jump onto her, and absorb every single shot. So the damage is equal to 0, and you're ready also. And if you have the possibility to stun her, also you lock her in place, and you're ready to swipe her out with your flankers. But right now, the other 2 picks are going to be Canessa, and I really like this pick because she has that mobility that Strict just doesn't have. But it's going to be a battle of snipers because right now, Janna's coming in as an hit scan support, but on the other side, we have Strix with the Corvus and the others. So yeah, it's just going to be sniping all across the map over and over and over. But for Celestial, they have Eevee, so they can basically find Strix and push him out of the fight thanks to Eevee and that mobility. The other side, no, you just have Vivian. You're just going to, run and gun. You have mobility for sure, but it's not the same as a real flanker. So yeah, it's just the DPS. What do you expect from these 2 compositions? Who do you think is going to take the win at the end of the day?
I think it's going to have to be a lot of pressure on Otev here for Celestial, because look at the rest of their comp, right? I mean, you have Inara Atlas, pretty stationary composition. You have Genos Canessa, also fairly stationary. But then Eevee wants to get aggressive, right? Eevee wants to kind of chase people down and follow up on them and finish off kills. So it's a lot of pressure on what can Otev do relatively alone, trying to actually go in without much follow-up. I think the Atlas can maybe do it, but the speed boost, we'll see if he is running speed boost on shield. He is partially running it, so only 20% speed. That's just nimbled 3 from the start, but only for 3 seconds, and I don't think that's enough to actually cross that gap and follow up on what Otep's doing.
It's just a little bit of a utility, of course, but yeah, as you said and mentioned before, it's not going to be enough. But let's witness what's going to happen on this bazaar, because right now we're ready to just see the first blood from Strix, completely uncontested right now. They're chasing down the Eevee. Oh, she's completely gone for. She's done so, and Strix takes the second one, and now he has completely control of the whole situation. He can basically snipe down Inara and all the others.
Yeah, he's able to stay here all the way on the left side to potentially get aggressive and duel into slot both of them, the controller players on each team, on the snipers in that duel, but ends up evening out right into each other, and now they will manage to maintain control here, especially with Toot falling just a little bit later there. But Prosper can play so safe. I mean, Strix can just be like a melee sniper practically with all the quickscopes he's able to do, with maybe a retouch happening here potentially for Celestial, but he has to go through so much damage to make it happen.
Ooh, that's a lot of damage right there. Look at that. He just didn't catch the point. I mean, there's the overtime, but it's not going to be enough. And right now, there's another kill right onto the Genos. Kinessa fighting herself alone, all by herself, completely squashed out by Strix and the others. And Strix does not care at all. And as you said before, he's ready with that quick scope. He's ready to reposition at a moment's notice. Like, he's ready to move. He has that kind of different mobility. It's not the same as Kinessa. It's not as strong as Kinessa. But as you can see, he can basically deal a lot of damage being uncontested.
Yeah, for sure. And they're going to be able to keep up this pressure here, kind of going off the back of their hit scans, but Etsu might have overstepped. He's pretty far forward, and look, the rest of them can't really follow up as much, but Otep, you gotta pay attention to Prosper, man. He wasn't even invisible, but he just catches him out as he tries to push around the corner and evens things out for the Yoinkers' aggressive push.
Watch out, Kinessa actually going into that sniper field. They need to be very aware, because right now he's just basically hugging the wall, hugging the buildings, creating those mass snipe zones where you can get a very easy, quick pick-off kill. And yeah, the only one who's very aware of that is Atlas right now. Eevee doesn't even seem to care.
Yeah, for sure. Atlas, I think, needing to maybe help a little bit more. But look at this right now. They force out the Immortal in main, traded into that, but nothing else really happens. Just two ults effectively clashing against nothing. But maybe now they can get aggressive with this Assert Dominance back onto Slop and Xenost.
And as we see across the map right now, Kinessa being sniped out and scoped out from Goodlad. Of course, Ash right now having a little bit of a fight with Inara. Nothing major happening, actually. Vivian just took a kill, just took out a body. This cart is pretty much still not moving at all. Eevee not finding any kill in quite a while now. Like, she's not being super useful, I might say.
Yeah, we'll see this push up here on the side with them trying to maybe make up for how distracted they are with the Vivian. But the Assert Dominance will go in the back. It will find the Kinessa. One-for-one backline for backline, but the Yoinkers are really split.
I think Goodluck just saw the Genos and she's gonna go in. She's gonna try to, snipe him out, at least take him out of the fight, because Atlas is all alone by himself. Yeah, they know about that. 30 seconds to go. Very hard to push this last and final stretch. Goodluck is gonna die and not taking Genos with him. So yeah, it's gonna be difficult right now to set up a new push. So they might as well just take it easy, don't give any credits. Maybe take a kill with Strix, something like that.
Possible. I mean, Strix can always be able to find something, but the wall's in the way right now, so they can't do too much here as they're grouped up. But Yoinkers will have overtime for sure with the way Etsu is positioning right now. But actually, wait, he's coming a little late. Okay, Good Lad makes up for it for now, but the contest is in. They have overtime, and Good Lad's deep in the enemy backline.
Etsu all alone by himself, but right now all the others are trying to join him. It's super difficult to, push into this last stretch, because of course you have the building and you can basically control everything. Strix is going to be one-on-one against Otep, and he takes the kill. Fernando's going to collapse, is going to die soon after, and all the others, the defense is going to be successful. But Yoinkers, they pretty much used a lot of resources to just try and get that point.
They used them all early enough, though, where they should have it back. But Celestial, they don't need to be as concerned about that with everything that they have. The full 5 ultimate suite available to them. But Yoinkers will have the Immortal. They will have the Assert Dominance pretty shortly. Ash does charge that rather fast. And Flashbang's more of a reactive ultimate they're not as worried about anyway. But we'll take a look at, I think, some of these other loadouts and builds that they have. The Nano main tank, I think, is working okay for them. This is just a very hard point to roll all the way in. They can spawn so close to that and are kind of hard to turn things around, but we'll see. Yoinkers rolling back out. They need to charge their ultimates fast enough to have them to react to Celestial. But if Celestial go fast enough, they won't have a chance to find the answer.
Gotta go faster, of course, and he finds the point right now. It's gonna be a one-on-one against Inara. They're just gonna dance there, unless Strix wants to say something in a matter. Ooh, Eevee actually collapsing right now with the snowball. Oh, yeah, perfect immortal coming up from him. Fernando, no kills were found right now. Yeah, Eevee, probably she's gonna die pretty soon after, thanks to Vivian, and she just locked her in, ready to go. Now the ultimate is gonna be popped. She's trying to find a little bit of damage. She finds herself a wall, and she needs to be very aware of Nessa.
Yeah, right now Nessa will making things tough for the Nando, but as long as the Nando can get a shield charge up, it should be fine. And Prosper, actually, look how aggressive he is. This is what Strix can get away with. He's literally Ice Sniper in the middle of their team. Now, in his position on the side, no one's in the spot to stop him, and he's just going to go completely uncontested.
Ooh, he found the Canessa right now. He has complete control over her. There's no way Eevee actually is going to go against him 1v1. He knows about the building. He knows about, of course, that Eevee gets the kill pretty easily. And there you go. They completely stomped out the competition. Then they got themselves a very nice point right there.
Yeah, the Prosper definitely making that a lot easier for them. And now Toot, I think maybe the only one who can touch, but big shield up. 20 seconds until he can use his next cooldown, and no one on Celestial can really cross that. So Yoinkers, that set up for themselves, and what now? Maybe want to find a good dive into the back. Hopefully with this assert dominance, but this cart has to move a little bit first. You don't want to go too far ahead of your cart when it's so easy for them to flank behind you, right? You want to go in and clean them up as the cart gets close, but Celestial, they don't want to give them a chance to let that happen.
I feel that Otev is not really doing his job right now. He's not trying to get that Strix each and every time he's, has a Soar or a Blink available. Prosper Logic is just basically all by himself doing crazy plays, setting up those kills, setting up that nice DPS on and on and on each and every time. And he's not really being contested at all. Look at that. Like, it just took another kill out of nowhere. Nobody's pressuring him.
And look at it. Like, how can they stop it? They don't know he's coming. He walks in through this back quick scope here, and Logi will now follow up. While they're so distracted with him, Logi's gonna run it down in main.
Boom! Janus is gone, and so are all the heals from your team. So you're basically without anything. You don't have sustain. You don't have a way to basically heal yourself or getting supported. Kinessa tries to find out where the shot came from. She actually finds the Strix, but he's ready to reposition. They're basically all blocked up, all cooped up in that respawn. There's nowhere they're gonna exit without getting shot off by the Strix.
Yeah, and right now as Good Lad continues to keep this up here, but look at this right now. Good Lad's in the middle of them. This is a great bait. If they chase him, he's just gonna spend the assert dominance, I think, but they have the damage that he doesn't even have to use it, and it's all on how long Closar can live on the point.
Oh, indeed, and look at that damage right now coming up from Vivian. They just basically pushed successfully, took the point. It's going to be a 3-1. Yoinkers right now dominating the entire situation, thanks, of course, of Prosper Logic.
Yeah, Prosper making a lot of room. And Logi, too, I mean, a combined 19 and 6 between the two DPS is hard for them to be able to overcome. But I think the tanks are also making a ton of room. We see how long Etsu is able to survive in front of those snipers, the Nando shield helping pretty significantly there in that sense. But I want to see maybe I liked how the ultimates came out for Celestial, but it went all into an immortal. They spent the Ice Storm, they spent the Seismic Crash, and all of it was just countered by Etsu's ultimate. So maybe just be a little bit more wary of that, because that's what Nando does. It counters anything if you're not kind of being cognizant of it. Just catch him out, maybe focus him early with some damage, force it, and then come in with your ultimate combo.
Yeah, that could be an idea, but of course you still have fruit time and space. You can basically bait him out and snipe him across the map if you have the situation. But right now, oh my god, Kinessa getting punished heavily by this Ashe. She's completely by herself, but yeah, just doing damage over and over and over. Right now, Etsu got another kill onto that point. They still have control. Eevee is not able to actually do enough damage to anybody. Yeah, that's gonna be a problem right there.
Yeah, as they tries to get aggressive in the back, but Otev sent away by Good Lad. The time is climbing here, though. They are getting very close to this cap, and Closar is not contesting it yet. He's trying to find Vivian, but Immortal will save them, and now they have to make it back to the point.
And there's no way this stun is gonna connect and do something useful, because there's no follow-up. Prosper Logic all by himself, basically carrying the entire team overtime, but that doesn't mean nothing, because right now, Yoinkers, it just took a super well-earned victory.
Yoinkers just looked like the better team on that map. The fact that a Nando will just win a 1v1 with a Nanara on the objective, I think, you're not going to do that unless you're able
Pretty
to
telling.
keep that map controlled. Yeah, exactly. It's so hard to really be able to stop that. As we'll take a look at the stats for that one and see how things are looking there. Logi ends up out damaging Prosper, which, even though Vivian is just a hose of damage, it still surprises me when you can outdamage Prosper Logic on Strix. But game, Otev tried his best to clean up on it, to do more damage than Slop, actually, but I think Good Lad and Netsu just kept too much pressure on Slop. Every time they tried to shoot the point, it was going into the Nando shield. Every time that Slop tried to stay in one position for too long, he was being hard dove by Good Lad, and the tanks just made it too hard for him to do whatever he wanted to do.
Absolutely. And as we can see right now from stats, Prosper Logic with that 14-4, pretty much telling, but also, we saw Vivian just rushing through with no cares in the world. She also was pretty much uncontested, but what can you do? As you said before, they thought that maybe Evie could be a kind of a counter if you put her against Vivian 1v1, because she's a blaster, you can shoot her feet, you can do all that kind of stuff, but it really didn't happen. I don't know. Right now, Autumn was a little bit out of it. He was not consistently playing, using blinks to just be into the backline. She was focusing mainly on Ashe, and as we saw before, she was doing basically no damage, actually risking it a little bit of getting killed. So yeah, I don't know. It was just a little bit of she fell short onto the mechanic side. But that's okay. Like, they still have, another week. They still have other ways to maybe come back and do a couple more games. And remember, patch is going to drop soon enough. So the first one to understand the meta are the first one who are going to take all those points and, just get a better standing at that point.
Yeah, and we can actually, speaking of that, we can take a look at those standings, that being the last game of Europe in this week. Yoinkers, continuing to establish themselves at the top of this region after taking down Clown Fiesta earlier in the second round-robin rotation. Clown Fiesta still right behind them in a close brawl between 3rd, 4th, and 5th place, 4 and 5, 4 and 5 for Celestial and Interstellar, and Chromospace just behind, with Mixalazub now kind of trying to find their way back forward. But with that being done, like we said, that's all for EU. If you guys want to see a Brazilian matchup, it'll be on the other side of this break. Parallax versus Ignite Gaming. Be right back.